For those of you watching live, you of course know a big event is happening. That event is the High Noon Hemp Show. It means it's noon Eastern time on a Wednesday. That's when you can find the High Noon Hemp Show. You can find it in many places. We're on the Facebook, of course, at the Temptations Beach Facebook page. On YouTube, check out the Jedi Hemp YouTube channel, and on the old Twitter/X. You can go to @Temptations and find the show as well. I am Stoner Jesus. I do various things on the interwebs. He is Beach. He is high above the Ohio River for what is our season premiere of season 23, if you can believe it. They keep renewing the show. It's inexplicable, but here we are still, and hemp is not fully legal and accessible nationwide and doing everything it needs to be doing. So we will continue to be here until that happens, or until we get canceled. We'll see. So everyone happens first. In any case, he is Beach. He is on the USS Temptations. How are things this week in the world of Temptations, Beach?
Well, yesterday was a big day in Ohio, so
Right.
it's not necessarily hemp related, but definitely cannabis related. So there's an exciting vibe, I suppose, in the old state of Ohio right now when it comes to cannabis. So we've got all the accessories and everything that you need at Hemptations to enjoy the legalization of personal use cannabis purchasing in the state of Ohio. Of course, it's been legal for about 6 months, so you can have it. And, we've always been able to supply you with your hemp cones or hemp rolling papers or pipes or whatever you need. And remember, folks, the FDA has not evaluated this show for efficacy or safety. So, that in mind, let's go ahead and read our pledge, which reads, I pledge allegiance to the hemp fields of America and to the soil at which it's planted. One seed under the sun with responsibility, sustainability, and thrivability for all. And of course, that was written by Coach Freddie. It's kind of interesting that a third-party friend of mine posted a picture of this awesome-looking car with this trailer at the gas station, and it was Coach Freddie's. It was that was pretty cool. So, all right, well, let's jump right into it. We got the product spotlight. What I say, 4 from the store, 1 from my door here on the High Noon Hemp Show. The first one here is the Colorado Hemp Honey Sticks, and we've actually reduced these in price a little bit. It's a pretty good deal. Comes in 3 different flavors, and then there's actually a double strength. And again, these are CBD, but it's for the amount of money. It's a nice little dose of CBD one way or another, and honey never goes bad. Just so you know, it's the only food product on the planet, my understanding, that never goes bad.
Wow.
I feel like I have to look into salt when it comes to that statement, but that's what I was always told. That's what we were always told, is honey is the actual only food product on the planet. And I don't know if salt's considered a food. It may just be considered a spice, so it's different. That makes sense. Spices may never go bad. Food product is different. Honey's a food product. Get yourself some CBD Colorado hemp honey on sale right now at Hemptations. We're gonna have definitely some nice weather for a while. So how about a hemp necklace? You need a new hemp necklace? We got a nice little supply of them down once again the Northside location. So if you're looking to pick up a nice piece of hemp jewelry, we've got a good selection, as you can see there, of all kinds of different good stuff. And we've got plenty of, I feel like it's going to be hot or warm, like summertime weather, probably halfway through spring or halfway through fall this year. So We'll see if that comes true or not. Either way. Maybe you need to keep that sun off of you, especially off of your head. How about this no bad ideas? I guess you could call this a brim hat. It's not necessarily a bucket hat. I don't know what the name of this type of hat is, and I should know as a hat person. I feel like I should know. And maybe it's just actually called a sun hat. because again, it's got that flat brim that help keep the sun even off of your face and shoulders and stuff on these super hot sunny days, which I believe today yesterday we were experiencing some of the super hottest sunny days here in the old Cincinnati of Ohio. It's true. And then maybe you just, you need some hemp twine, you need some color hemp twine. You got a project, you can use twine for just about anything. We've got all kinds of fun colors of hemp twine at the store in Northside now. So if you're looking for doing a project, or you just tend to tie stuff up a lot, hemp twine, and the colors are good, because you can get yourself a bright color if you need to see it, get yourself a duller color if you're not really wanting to see it. Either way, it's a good selection of colors right there. So there you have it from the store. Now the one from my door I used last night at the medical marijuana meetup. But that is actually a name tag, as you can see, with my name on it. It's probably about 2 inches long, about an inch deep, magnetized, so I can hook it to anything, basically any type of material. So I just magnetize it right onto my shirt there, and everybody can see that my name is Beach. And I'm from Hemptations and Planet Everywhere, and we no longer have Tohi Spa, unfortunately. Tohi Spa, we believed, was actually the first hemp spa, all hemp spa in the United States, using hemp sheets, hemp massage oil, CBD stuff, all that stuff. All of it was hemp, but no longer around. But it was nice while we had it. It was pretty cool. It's pretty cool. So there you have it, folks. On the product spotlight here on the High Noon Hemp Show. 4 from the store, 1 from my door.
Right. As you can see Beach's top of his top half as we do the show. You get a little bit of preview of what's coming next. It's something that happens a lot when the weather is hot outside. Beach takes you on a little trip to the gun show. That's right. It is the Beachwear segment.
More like the Leaf Show.
That's right. All I have to do is ask Beach one simple question, and he will answer me, including visual aids. All I have to say is, what are you wearing, Beach?
All right, you're looking for the Leaf Show. Now you're going to see it. I'm continuously wearing all those tattoos. That's an everyday thing too. But when you're talking about wearing hemp head to toe every day, here's the outfit for this. Just like last week, super hot. So I have minimized the amount of hemp clothing that I have on. On top there, that is a actual licensed flex fit hat. They come in a small to medium, and then they also come in a medium large. And the small medium hits my head good because I got a small little head. Thought your head would be bigger. Another Young Maven tank top, printed at the Planet Everywhere print shop back in the day. These the ones I made. They say 420 years on the back, real big. So obviously we had these made about 8 years ago because that's when we celebrated our 420 years open anniversary. Now, of course, we've got my Lac Haze shorts, and I don't know anything about this company. I need to look into them. I think I found these on eBay or something. But it's Lac, Lakhays. It's who made my shorts. Obviously, in the pocket there, you can see my Green Spring Technologies pen, as always. A pair of Satori boxers, although you can barely see them in the picture, of the pair of Oasis no-show. See, they're no-show in the picture, and they're no-show on my feet. And then bringing it all together, taking me where I need to go, is a good old pair of Adidas shell toes. And these are the newer Adidas shell toes. The original hemp Adidas, the first ones I believe that they released were actually called super modified. And they were a shell toe. One way you can tell the difference is they actually have wider stripes on them. But the super modified were the hemp line back in the day. And these are hemp too, but these are just the regular shell-toe design. Nothing exotic about them at all, other than they're made out of hemp. If that's still exotic, which is, we're kind of on the border, I guess.
Yeah.
So there you have it. If you're wondering, it is easy to be green on a hot day. Now you know. What are you wearing, Beach? It's true. All right. Since we have finally personal use, I'm going to show a commercial that we made when I was working with the Ohio Rights Group, which was the first probably attempt in Ohio, the first real attempt in Ohio to get something on the ballot to legalize therapeutic cannabis and industrial hemp. It was both together. That's why I worked with the Ohio Rights Group very closely. I was actually the regional manager for the volunteer groups in the state with the Ohio Rights Group, because this was in fact a therapeutic bill, so it would have legalized personal use, but it was also an industrial hemp. It had a completely different industrial hemp section, so it would have legalized industrial hemp. And that was back in, I think that was 2013. Gosh, I guess so, over 10 years ago. So here you go. After this commercial, we'll be back with the news.
Registered voters, this is a call to action. Get your signature on an Ohio Cannabis Rights Amendment petition and help get the Ohio Cannabis Rights Amendment on the ballot in 2014. This is a therapeutic cannabis and industrial hemp issue. One plant, many uses. Go to ohiorightsgroup.org. That's ohiorightsgroup.org to get the facts. You can also go to either Hemptations location to sign the petition. Help make Ohio a better place.
So there you have it. 2014, 10 years ago, we were attempting the first, I think in my opinion, the first legitimate attempt to get the signatures to get it on the ballot. And, we didn't make it. We tried again in 2015, I think it was 2015, because the signatures carried over, and we just couldn't. We were, and I want to summarize. I want to say that we had no money. Okay. And I think we made a huge valid attempt. I think that we got the ball. I think the Ohio Rights Group movement, with no money to get enough signatures to get it on the ballot in Ohio, actually lit the fire under the state to start working on a medical before something else happened there. Honestly, before we actually passed a bill that they couldn't manipulate, they wrote their own. And then, of course, the first attempt, however long ago that was, the first attempt that actually got on the ballot, which I can't believe didn't pass. But that was a great work of propaganda by the state, describing it as a monopoly bill. And again, Ohio was one of the first that actually failed with a legalization or medical attempt. And I think that's what really lit the fire, to get the medical and the state to do the medical. And then, of course, now, last fall, we passed. We're legal. We are now medical and personal use. And it's a glorious state of mind in a sense that, it was funny. I was talking to a girl last night at the medical marijuana meetup, and she was like, "Yeah, I was standing out front with all my stuff, and somebody came by and asked me, are you giving away free stuff?" And she said, "Well, I don't know. They might be inside. I don't know." And I said, "Well, what you should have said is, yeah, we're giving away. Weed is finally free to sell." But anyway, it's I don't. In the state of Ohio, you don't have to worry about smelling like cannabis anymore. There are no drug paraphernalia laws, so I can say that we sell cannabis pipes, You know, I can't sell you one if I'm going to ship it across state lines because that would be against federal laws. But in the state of Ohio, I can sell you anything. Now say what it's for. Much like what CBD did, honestly, because as we sold Delta 8 flower and we sell THCA flower and we sold CBD flower, that, you know, no longer made those items what they call drug paraphernalia because they were for legal purposes. Everything but tobacco, and we're clear on that at this point. We don't sell any tobacco products anymore. They are now cannabis products. We can wholeheartedly say that even more now than we could before. So, all right. Well, let's get on to some news. There's some news from us. That should have been at the top of the hour, maybe. But anyway, so Brown University graduates have started a company called EcoForge. And what they're doing is developing local and sustainable building materials from agricultural residues and plants. Now, so they're like, and this is something, materials like hemp, a bio-based material that's carbon negative. That's a quote from their article. And again, what they're doing, and this should be, I mean, nationwide, is they're taking the waste. So if you're a CBD grower and you have your stalks as waste at the end of the day, they're going to use those. They're not growing firsthand to supply manufacturers with products. They're collecting the waste from any hemp farms, regardless of what it is. And so, once again, utilizing the CBD industry in the amount of waste that they have, which is the incomplete stalk. And even the roots, if they pull it up, I don't know, if they pull it up by the roots when they process it and cut the flowers off and process those separately. But then the rest of it all goes into a pile, most likely to be burned, which is how most cannabis waste has been gotten rid of. But now making a valid effort, I mean, again, if someone was smart enough in Canada to go collect all that waste at the end of the year from growing for grain, it would be an amazing amount of byproduct, biomass. And so this is it's a great idea. They're at the front of the game, and this is something I've been talking about for 5 years now, if not 10, and always. Because legitimately speaking, you cut the tops off of a THC plant, you take that flower off, and all you have left is the stalk. There's no THC in that. It's still a marijuana product, but that being said, I believe that they should be able to sell those to hemp manufacturers or processors to have processed for the fiber and the herd, that hempcrete material, the bedding material. And they should be able to go to market as opposed to just become waste, because once again, they have no THC in them. Now, to be specific, if they come from a marijuana plant, they are always going to be considered a marijuana plant, regardless of whether they tested positive for THC or not. That is the law. Okay. That being said, no one would ever be able to prove that a pair of jeans was made from a marijuana plant. It'd be very difficult to prove. It'd be very difficult to prove that a house built with hempcrete, that hempcrete was actually marijuana herd. And the reason that I air quote marijuana is because marijuana is a government propaganda word, media propaganda word that was used to make hemp illegal in 1937. It's not even a real word. And to explicitly define how it's not even a real word, the United States government spelled it one way for the first 60 years or so, And then when they wrote the Controlled Substance Act, they changed the spelling. Okay, so it's in the Marijuana Tax Act. It was written in 1937, made industrial hemp illegal. It was spelled one way with a J. And in the 1969 Controlled Substance Act, which continued to make industrial hemp, all cannabis, illegal, they spelled it with an H. And so that just shows you how the word was made up and used by the media and the government to make hemp or cannabis, all marijuana, hemp, all that. It's all cannabis. Okay. And so, I like the idea, and I think we're moving towards the idea, and this is the way I do it. That's why I put marijuana in quotes, and I very rarely use the word to begin with unless I'm talking about the government marijuana. It should be called cannabis, and we can call it maybe call it cannabis for medical use, or personal use, and then call it hemp because hemp is a um, what I would call like a subspecies of cannabis. Hemp is all cannabis sativa L or lin, um, biologically speaking, and marijuana is both cannabis sativa L lin or um, cannabis indica. Okay, or cannabis ruderalis, which is a new one, and I haven't. I always knew that ruderalis existed in the world, but it didn't seem to have as many benefits as hemp or cannabis or marijuana, and so it kind of got pushed aside. Now it's making a comeback because it is the auto flowering cannabis plant. Okay, so cannabis, whether it's hemp or THC, um, it flowers by the amount of light, the time of the amount of light that it's getting. So it knows fall is coming, and wherever it grows outside by the amount of light it's getting, and then flowers. With auto flowering, it auto flowers within 3 months, and so now we're starting to see a lot of breeding with ruderalis, the little known, the third cannabis, very little known, because of the auto flowering, and it's speeding up the amount of time to get a THC flower or a CBD flower, no matter what you're working with there. So that one's when it comes to the flower industry, ruderalis is it's gonna make a comeback. It's gonna make a comeback one way or another. So all right. A CBD study in mice has shown that it can significantly reduce symptoms resembling PTSD. I've always gone back and forth as to whether, and a lot of people do believe, and I think a lot of people do use THC for PTSD, but I definitely think that CBD is a much better option. Once again, you don't have the side effects, and sometimes THC can cause anxiety, um, and so I think there's definitely some more medical tests out there for that. But I think they will definitely be moving forward with this study on humans, proving that CBD itself may actually help with PTSD, which only makes sense, again, because of its ability to fight anxiety and depression, and it's calming, and it's from coming from our customers and from personal use, its calming abilities. It only seems logical that it would be something good for people that suffer from PTSD. And to be clear, PTSD is not something that just people in the military get. Everyday people have PTSD because they went through a traumatic episode. That's all it is. It's the post-traumatic. It's not just for uh, soldiers. It's for all walks of life that have suffered something traumatic in their life, and it becomes reoccurring. They can't shake it, so to speak. They keep reliving it and putting themselves in it. Um, and so, having another, again, all natural substance that can help them with that is great. So I look forward to some human trials proving this, adding that human uh, legitimacy to it, and then hopefully more people that suffer from PTSD will feel confident to go find a CBD product, whether it's a Hemptations product or one of the other thousands that are out there, um, to help them, because it's a tough one. It's a tough one. Take a look at some of the newest residential buildings that they're putting up in France here. Um, France, and I just learned this, and that doesn't surprise me at all. But it says France is the third largest grower of hemp in the world. And it was China, the United States, and France. But I feel like Canada did not. I feel like Canada has to grow more than France too. And I don't know why Canada was left off the list, other than maybe they were just talking about fiber. I don't know. But Canada definitely has to be high on the list as well. But as I've said, if you've watched the show before, France is the only country that never stopped growing cannabis, growing hemp. They got down to very little amount, from my understanding, at one point or another, like in the 70s when the whole drug war thing was really, going after cannabis. But they never stopped. They just minimized, I think, for whatever reason. But now they say that production has tripled in the last 10 years. And again, France was starting to use and build buildings and use hempcrete in the 90s. And so, they're way ahead of the game here. And here is, yet another residential building in France going up that would, what they call hempcrete insulation. So it's framed, the building is framed, and then they spray in. And the residents in France that live in these buildings wholeheartedly admit that they're cooler in the summer and they're hotter in the winter. And that principle alone is a utility of the hempcrete. And then they were talking about how, like, the boiler rooms and whatnot were made out of hempcrete because it is basically flame retardant. And they mentioned 4 hours. But as you may or may not know, there is a YouTube video that is, I believe, almost 8 hours long of a constant flame inches away. I mean, like, making contact with a hempcrete wall and doing no permanent damage whatsoever to that wall. And that's an 8 hour video. So I think they're being conservative with their 4 hour. Because again, it's the hempcrete is naturally flame retardant, will not burn. Another good
If I may interrupt for a second, Beach, because StreamYard, I thought it was weird we haven't been getting any comments because a lot of people are watching the show right now on X, and I went to look at the comments, and StreamYard has not been telling me showing me anyone's comments, so I had to go look. So I want to shout out everybody. Droopy Dog. That was probably at the beginning of the show, so thank you. I'm sorry I'm a half hour late, but that's StreamYard's fault. I'm not going to take that on myself. PT Princess, wishing everyone a happy Wednesday. She said bucket hat when you were talking about the hat.
Kind of a bucket hat, yeah.
And PTSD is much more common than people realize. And I'm not sure what your X name is. There's nothing there. But talking about CBD and PTSD.
Oh, yeah.
In an illegal state of North Carolina.
Right on.
They said they're moving to France.
Hey.
Whatever her name is. So
not a bad idea.
So sorry, everybody. I see you interacting. I'll check from now on, because StreamYard apparently is just not going to tell me if people are interacting with the show. So I will be more vigilant in the future. Interesting.
Well, keep commenting, folks. Thank you, everyone that's watching. One way or another, we do appreciate it. And keep those comments coming, whether we get them during the show or not, we'll try to address it.
That's right. Something.
One way or another. And again, I watch the YouTube video. So if you're watching on YouTube and you want to make a comment or a question, ask me a question, I watch the YouTube video best I can. And then Stoner, he watches the Facebook and the X feed. So
the best I can.
best we can. Now we know we got to pay attention to that.
Try to look, see if anything's there.
All right. In the French, they refer to hemp as the green gold. I like that. It is the green gold. Brazilian study, no surprise here, showed that CBD mitigates symptoms in adolescents with autism, which we already know. I've got a long history of customers that use our hemp products for helping their autistic children. I have somewhere, and again, this email is probably 10 years old because we've been selling CBD for a long time. But I have an email somewhere from a parent who was a non-speaking autistic child. And after they figured out that right dose for them, the child started speaking after getting on, a regular dose of CBD. And so, that alone is an amazing byproduct, result of the success of, the all natural CBD that we have. This study is no surprise to me. I think most parents, once they get their child, they figure out that right amount of CBD, it changes their lives. It changes their lives, and we've heard that from more than one of our customers alone. So, including one of my best friends, whose son is highly autistic and uses CBD to help control that. Here's interesting. A patent has been granted to a CBD product that is recognized for extending deep sleep and demonstrated clinical efficacy in reducing inflammatory cytokines and regulating blood glucose and aiding in weight loss in type 2 diabetics. Now, I know I just reported on a study or something about CBD having success with diabetics. Diabetics were seeing benefit from using CBD. So here's more proof that it does, in fact, help for type 2 diabetics, weight loss, and things like that. We already knew about the inflammation. I mean, again, we're just adding. Every time a study proves that CBD is good at fighting inflammation, it's just one more study that's shown. Our customers know it, and there's plenty of research being done out there that is proving it, and it is true. There's no doubt in my mind that is one of the benefits of CBD that 100% exists. Okay, it's not snake oil salesman pitch. It exists, and here's yet more proof, because I'm sure in order to get a patent, I guess you had to prove that it was good, but I don't know, because that's different than FDA approval. So I don't know. Maybe just putting it on paper. I'm not sure how that would work as far as proving that we are international. Go Germany. Germany has a great history of using hemp, and they're moving up in the hemp world too. And so once again showing CBD has therapeutic value, and more proof of it. Here's an interesting one. Okay, so now THCA is the new legal flower. And we sell THCA flower because THCA flower turns into THC. The THCA turns into THC when you've heated it up or decarbonated it, as it goes, which is the science of THC as well, to get the effects, the best effects. Now, what's interesting, and this is why maybe this is why THC edibles hit us differently. If they haven't been maybe decarbonated, I don't know if most people decarbonate the THC before they put it in an edible, but they're saying that THC that's non-decarbonated, THCA, is showed to regulate inflammation, like CBD, metabolism, glucose homeostasis. Once again, there's two back-to-back articles basically that are showing that that THCA then can have good results with glucose homeostasis and fat storage without the high. So what we're going to start seeing more and more of is THCA edibles, getting the benefit out of that. It's like, to me, this is like getting the benefits of THC without the high when it comes to everything but smoking it. So in edibles and things like that. So this is going to probably, if this, gains a little momentum, is going to add a whole nother market to the THCA flower market right now, because now then we can just have that extracted like we do CBD and CBG and CBN, and then just make foods out of it, which will be highly effective therapeutically, but not have that high that it can produce when you heat it up. So it's really brilliant. So many questions about Ohio labeling. Trust me. I don't doubt that for 1 minute. Okay, because their medical labeling is something interesting to begin with. All I can tell you to answer your questions on Ohio labeling is the fact that they are so intrusive that it's probably confusing. Ohio, from seed to sale, Ohio has their hands straight up the industry. And again, it wouldn't surprise me if the labels are confusing because of that. That's the best I can give you there. One way or another, because that does not surprise me at all. I don't have a medical card, so I've never purchased from medical. Regardless, I suppose at least once maybe I will go into a dispensary shop for personal use. But here's what I can already know that keeps me from doing that is the fact that the prices are ridiculous. The medical prices are already ridiculous, which means that the personal use are going to be even more ridiculous because of the extra tax. That's the benefit of keeping your medical card in Ohio is you will basically get a tax break because the personal personal use. So is this all hemp because of THCA? Well, THCA is legal to have high percentage of in industrial hemp. So that's where we get our THC. That's how we can legally sell THC products at Hemptations. We're just a regular retail store. And so, but if you do look at the labeling of the medical and the personal use, they include the THCA content in the percentage of THC. So maybe that's where you're having some confusion. Okay. But because once again, the only thing that we have to limit in industrial hemp, that 0.3% is THC. We can boost the numbers of THCA all we want to. I mean, we're seeing THCA flower in the mid 20s, low 30%. And once again, turns identically into the THC once you burn it. But until then, it is an industrial hemp product, and that's why we're starting to see so much success for it, and it's cheaper in the state of Ohio. I don't know how it compares to some other states that have legal or medical, but I can basically sell the same thing that they would sell you at the dispensary for less. And that's why the marijuana industry is fighting so hard against intoxicating hemp all over the country. The marijuana industry are the ones that are fighting to change the federal farm bill because as far as consumerism goes, this is a THCA is a threat to them, and so instead of just supplying superior products where they can, they're going to try to make it illegal, which is the biggest part of hypocrisy that I have ever seen. And the cannabis industry has no lack of hypocrisy, and it's always been a fight. It's always been a money grabbing fight, and this just proves it in the THC market across the country, because they're trying to protect their interests by making industrial hemp illegal. And once again, I tell them the same thing that I would tell the cotton industry. Just start growing THCA hemp, add it to your lineup, and then you'll have an industrial hemp product that you can sell in any product in any state, growing beside the products that you can only sell in limited states. And so instead of fighting to make it illegal, just add it to what you purchase from a farmer, and it can be industrial hemp, and then you'll have a line of industrial hemp that will make you money. Well, I'm answering your question right now. This is what I do on the High Noon Hemp Show, is educate every week. I've been in business for 28 years educating people on hemp. It's just getting out there, getting out there wherever you can. I often suggest getting yourself a hemp shirt that clearly says it's a hemp shirt. And sometimes that starts the conversation on all things hemp. But really, it's just finding people that you think may be interested in these facts and telling them to them. And most people are quite amazed if they don't know this stuff. It's true. That's the whole goal of what I do for the High Noon Hemp Show, and what I've been doing for 28 years is educating anywhere I can, everywhere I go, all the time. And so I try to dress so I start a conversation. But normally if someone asks me what I do, they're about to get a hemp education. That's all it takes for me. And figure out how to answer any personal questions by educating someone on hemp, no matter what it is. What religion are you? I'm the religion of hemp. You want to learn more about it? What's your clothing made of? No, anyway. And again, we have a long way to go. And so, I hope what you learn on this show, you can take and go educate. If everybody watches shows, if even 10 people over the years of all the times that I've ever spoken and educated, if 10 people walked away from that crowd and educated, that's thousands of people that I've sent on that path. And so learn as much as you can about it. And just all you got to do is talk to people about it. Because, to me, that's the fascinating thing about hemp. It is so good for everything and so fascinating. And once you start the discussion, people they want to know more. They want to know more. So it's what we do, and I hope that you go out and do it as much as you can, wherever you can. Social media, pass on, throw pictures of hemp houses up on your social media sites. Throw CBD studies up on your social media sites. Make sure that they're legitimate. For one, throw hemp clothing retailers up on your, to say, hey, look at this hemp shirt I found. Cool, go buy one. Whatever. hemp food. Find the information on hemp food and pass that on to everyone, because I think that's the most vital hemp education you can give someone, is educating how important it is for them to add hemp to their diet, because it's just an unbelievably great food, one way or another. All right. And speaking of food, CBD has gotten novel food approval in the UK, which means it can now be added to drinks and food. They're not saying that you can, still not saying that you can say, CBD is good for this. They're just saying um, that it can be added to foods and drinks, and is considered what they call a novel food. Okay, which would be the same thing if the FDA approved it. Okay, it would be a GRAS, GRAS food, which means it's generally regarded as safe. So all food product that the FDA has ever approved is GRAS. If your food product isn't GRAS, then you may want to look into it, whatever it is. But anyway, that's how it works. But good for the UK. Maybe this will even light a fire under the FDA here. Maybe we start making fun of them because now the UK, United Kingdom, has one-upped us, because now it is approved and okay to put in officially food and drinks, and that's CBD. So in this article, 9 brands of plant-based milk to try. I think I shot a picture. Pacific Foods hemp milk was on the list. And I think the one thing that I found very interesting, and I feel like, check your shelves for hemp milk. I talked about this before. Won't be in the refrigerated section most of the time. It actually can be what we could refer to as a dry good, so to speak. Not really a dry good, but non-refrigerated. You refrigerate after you open, I think, is your best bet, but it does not have to be refrigerated out of the gate. But this is actually a Campbell's, the soup company, product, which leads me to believe that depending on what grocery stores you shop in, it should be on the shelves, because it's got to be a nationwide product that they have if it's owned by or made by the Campbell Food Company. So, which is great. Once again, the big food companies slowly but surely need to incorporate hemp into all their foods, no matter what they're making. I don't know how they. I honestly believe that adding hemp seed to some of their soups, their vegetarian soups or anything like that, just a spoonful. You wouldn't taste it. You're just adding the nutritional value for the most part of anything. They could make it, start working it into their cream, their cream soups, cream it up. Might add a little bit of a nutty flavor depending on how much they actually add. But once again, you're looking for the nutritional value of that. Heart healthy, no cholesterol, protein, high proteins, vitamins, minerals, omega-6, omega-3s, essential fatty acids. So many great things in hemp seed that, again, all the food industries and the drink industries, for that matter, can start adding it for drinks, in drinks too, for its health benefits. Speaking of that, the healthiest smoothies have these superfoods is the title of the article. And of course, number 2 is hemp. And I definitely see there aren't too many smoothie lists of like smoothie recipes that go by that there isn't at least one smoothie recipe that includes hemp. It's a great way to add, once again, all of those benefits you want from a smoothie, which is a tablespoon or 2 of hemp seed. Just put it right in there. Again, won't affect the flavor in any way for the most part, because you only have to have a small amount. It's not like we can put a huge amount in to get the nutritional value. 2 tablespoons is an amazing amount of nutritional value of hemp. This was big. I saw this one going around the reels only because it was a Forbes article. So this was a Forbes article, how industrial hemp could save the world. Now they did have this. The picture they showed over is actually of the Chatham Dockyard. These are some women working at the Chatham Dock. This was the last hemp processor manufacturer in the United States. This is 1958, still operating in 1958. I have not gotten the logistics of how, after the war ended, there was one or two companies that continued to make industrial hemp products. I don't know. I feel like they were still allowed to farm it and then process it into the fiber products. Part of me says, and I really need to do some more research on this, that the military approved this. Okay, no, the rest of the country, after they begged us to grow hemp during World War II, and we did, in 1945, when the war was over, hemp went back to being illegal again, except for just a couple of places. I believe this, if I'm not incorrect, this place was probably in Wisconsin, and that was the only place that continued. And then, eventually, and by 1958 or so, the late 50s, I believe it was, they stopped operation, and there was no one in the United States at that point growing or processing industrial hemp again. And so, if you haven't taken the time, go to YouTube, put in "Hemp for Victory." It's about a 15-minute, 20-minute little government video, standard government pro propaganda, imploring our farmers to grow hemp. And then they went in 1945 right back to being hypocrites and said that this thing was a worthless crop and you can't grow it anymore under the Marijuana Tax Act. Just baffling. And then, that's the government for you. Missouri bans Delta 8. So I believe beginning September 1st is what I saw. Delta 8 products will no longer be legal in the state of Missouri. I see challenges coming soon. Real soon. Midwestern Hemp Research Database. This is kind of interesting, okay, is claiming that they are the most in-depth regional resource in the world. So if you're in the Midwest and you want to get involved in industrial hemp, I would highly recommend that you go find that. They probably want you to. It's very likely that it is not free. I don't know because I haven't really even had a chance to check it out myself to see what they offer. But it's the Midwestern Hemp Research Database. And again, they are claiming, as far as a regional database on hemp, which probably isn't too hard, they are the largest regional resource in the world. So if you're looking to grow hemp or get into the hemp farming industries or anything like that, that might be a good place to get you started in the right direction, depending on whether you want to grow for grain or you want to grow for fiber. I'm sure that they've done CBD research too, but there's zero reason to try to get into the CBD farming game at this point. So just farm fiber or grain, because that's what we need more of grown, regardless. And then you've got Kansas, man. I tell you, Kansas, I see a lot of stuff about Kansas. They are really hemp gung-ho at this point. But the Midwest Hemp Technology is partnering with the DeLong Company, Inc., Grown Climate Smart brand, to strengthen sustainable practices and expand their market for climate-smart agricultural products. And so, again, Kansas it's got to be it's just obviously, because, Kansas is just great for most agricultural crops because it's just flat and wide open. And they've seen an unbelievable amount of positivity coming from the Kansas government, and they're not. They're like one of the least um, happy about marijuana use states in the entire country. So to see them embrace industrial hemp like they have has been great, and they just continue to move forward with the right direction because it's not CBD based. It's they're really driving uh, the fiber and the herd, the hempcrete stuff, as far as promoting and wanting their farmers. They've reduced the fees. I can definitely see them getting rid of that stuff soon. Seeing it once again, if you want more farmers to grow, you know, maybe make them have to get like a license for $35 just so you can know that they're growing industrial hemp. If you want to keep track of them, but other than that, this should be left alone. And again, that's what anything in the new federal farm bill should address is should get rid of the fact that if you're a felon, you can't grow industrial hemp in the country. B, raise the percentage of THC allowable in the plant. And I wouldn't even like that as much as I would just like the fact that they should you shouldn't have to have your flowers tested for THC at the end of the year. Okay. If you're growing for fiber or herd, it's ridiculous. It doesn't make any difference how much THC is in your flower anyway. But I think that what it should go to is states just tell you, okay, you got to you get a license, $35 license fee, just so we know you're growing industrial hemp. What we get out of that is we can show up and test your flowers, spot check. And then if the government want to take some of that money that they got from licensing fees and hire someone to go, periodically in the state in the fall to spot check people's hemp plants, it makes so much more sense than everybody having to do it. And again, that's where we need to move to. This farm bill is what they're trying to add to the federal farm bill right now is going backwards in the industrial hemp industry. It's going backwards. And so, what is that? That's job security for me as the host of High Noon Hemp Show. Because that means we got to be out here educating even more. But anyway, and so, let your representatives know that you are not for changes to the farm bill unless those changes include taking the felony part out, or adding to the percentage of hemp, or even creating a subcategory that says if you are growing for the fiber or the stalk, you're exempt from the THC content in the flower. Because that's the way it should be. And then what you may have to do there is just prove that they destroyed the flowers at the end of the growing season, but they sent the stalk on to the processors for the fiber and the herd, but physically destroyed the flowers after they've de-seeded them because there's no THC in the seed, and they would want to, if they get success from the crop, you produce enough seed in the flower to seed next year. Or that seed product, once again, could go on to be food product because there's no THC in that. And all they would have to do is destroy the flower part that may have tested higher in THC, and then it's all good. That's how all that should break down, in my opinion, as far as if you're growing for the fiber, or the stalk, the herd, the outside, which is really both. You're growing for both because those are two different byproducts that you can get out of one growing. And they do not have any THC in them. So it doesn't make any difference how much THC is in the flower of that plant at the end of the growing season. We'll see where we get there. Those are the changes we want. The changes that they're proposing now are, again, going to send the industrial hemp farming industry in a backwards motion, which is absolutely absurd. Absolutely absurd. So I'll leave you with this. This is tragic. This is tragic news from Italy. So the best hemp fiber in the world may be at risk. The Italian government is proposing, and in discussion, and it's making a little bit of momentum, to actually ban all hemp growing. And again, it is a known fact in the hemp world, especially in the hemp fiber world, that the Italians grow the finest hemp for fiber material in the world. All the way up to Armani offering you a $5,000 hemp tuxedo, or at least they used to. I don't know if it's still available, and it's sure not going to be available if Italy goes through with this. So if anybody's watching in Italy, start spreading the industrial hemp is the government's looking to take all again, that's clothing, food product, CBD, all of it no longer can exist in the country of Italy. Talk about a step backwards. This is a real ignorant step, again, from a country that is known for their hemp. In the right circles, they are known for their hemp. And so it's terrible. I hope that this, stalls they get some education and realize what this would really do. So we'll see. So if you're in Italy, we'll be watching this. Could be soon that industrial hemp. This could be the last year of growing industrial hemp in the country of Italy. So that's terrible news.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's it for the news. We do have an event. I feel like I think I sent a picture over. This is in August 20th, 21st. And this is in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. Again, Pennsylvania, another state that is really moving forward in a positive way with industrial hemp. But this is the Lancaster County Hemp Circuit. So if you're interested in being educated and whatnot, check that out. It's August 20th, 21st. I would say just Google Lancaster County Hemp Circuit and see. But again, Pennsylvania, their government has been and is continuing to prove that they are wanting to encourage and provide the resources to farmers to grow industrial hemp. More and more and less for CBD, more and more for, once again, the fiber or the grain. And again, it's basically a triple plant, because you can grow for the grain and the fiber and the herd, that stalk outside of the stalk. It's all one crop. It's all one plant at the end of the year. You come along, you cut the flowers off that have the seed in them. You process that. Then you come along after that and you cut the bottom of the stalks off, and then you've got that whole stalk, which is fiber running from the bottom to the top. And then you can process that, and when you're processing for the fiber, then that leaves that herd, what's actually called shiv in the real world, herd in the hemp industry. I look forward to the time when the actual herd, HURD, is in the Webster's dictionary, and the definition will be the broken up stalk of cannabis plants. Because right now, herd, HURD, is really specific in describing that part of the cannabis stalk. It's not actually a word. A lot of the word usually in the worldwide industries or in the United States industries is shiv, SHIV. And so I try to refer to it as both, so it's not confusing to someone that knows what shiv is but doesn't know what I'm saying when I say herd. And again, herd is become the word of choice when describing that part of the stalk that we break down and we use in either animal bedding or hempcrete. is the most common use of that. So, and once again, that's all one plant. At the end of the season, you take that one plant you've grown and you have all three of those byproducts. You have all of that as biomass and can be used for thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of products. Again, is what makes hemp, in my opinion, and I would be willing to debate anyone in the world. I would be willing to debate anyone in the world on the fact that hemp is the most important agricultural crop to humanity ever discovered by humans. It has a documented history of 10,000 years. It was 100%, without a doubt, a part of the Fertile Crescent when humans were becoming agrarians 10, 15,000 years ago. We've only been farming for 10, 15,000 years. It's all traced back to the Fertile Crescent is when humans started farming. And again, we have not been able to do as much research on Native American farming if they were farming here, indigenous people in America. We know they weren't farming hemp because hemp was not indigenous to the Americas until the Europeans got here. But we do know that it was part of the Fertile Crescent. We have physical proof that it's part of the Fertile Crescent movement of agrarians that started there as far as farming. So an amazing history, one way or another. And once again, and I don't think I've ever actually challenged that debate to anyone before in the history of my hemp education, but I would wholeheartedly, I would challenge the most intelligent agricultural people out there, and I don't think anybody has a leg to stand on, because you can tell me you've got the best food product. Well, I can compete with that. You can tell me that you've got the best fiber product. Well, no, you don't, because hemp is the strongest natural fiber on the planet. You can tell me that you can build a better house with it, and I'll say, no, you can't, because of the environmentally friendly principles of it. You can tell me you can build or run a vehicle on a better fuel. No, hemp seed oil can run a vehicle, and once again, environmentally safe, natural. And so, there are so many industries that could say, you can't challenge us in this industry. Chances are I can and have a superior product, but you can only challenge me on one aspect of what hemp can do. And the amount of things that hemp can do, from the root to the flower, it's the High Noon Hemp Show is still here because I am still discovering new things. We are still discovering, humans are still discovering new things that we can make out of industrial hemp. All the way up from batteries to house siding to, it's amazing what we're finding we can use industrial hemp in. And that's why you're watching the High Noon Hemp Show. That's the information I'm trying to give you, and I sure appreciate you watching the High Noon Hemp Show. That's all I got for today. I didn't actually, the questions that I got during the show, I tried to answer. So thank you for that, folks. Now that we're kind of more on the things getting our way, questions actually getting our way, part of it. We're only 5 years in, but we're still learning. But we appreciate that. We'll be back next week at high noon on Wednesday here for the High Noon Hemp Show. Until then, remember, reduce, reuse, recycle. Make everything else out of hemp. Having temptations.
See y'all next week.